Hello everyone. I welcome you all to cybersecurity training sessions from Zoom Technologies. So in this session, we will be discussing about what is cybersecurity and what actually are we trying to do in this. Now, before we start with the discussion about what is cybersecurity, let us first understand what do we mean by the term security. So guys, Mr. Kiran, Mr. Abdul, yeah, Mr. Anil, yes. Yes. So, guys, like what you said, security is like protection, right? So, what you said is absolutely correct. So, we are trying to protect something. When we say we are trying to secure it. Now, let us apply this particular concept to a network, right? So, generally, we know in case of a network, we have things like servers, we have user data, we have some other network devices like say switches, routers, firewalls. So when we try to protect this network, we call it as a network security. Right? The same way, if we are trying to protect which user is trying to access what and how do we secure the resources, that we call as cyber security. So before we understand why do we need cyber security, let me give you a simple example on how organizations are setting up the networks. So I'll just give you a simple example here. So let's say you are the administrator, right? And you have to set up a network for your organization. So you'll be starting with setting up the server. So you'll have a server for the organization. Now you may have multiple servers in the organization. Just for simplicity's sake, I'll only consider one server in our example. Right? Now let's say on this server, we have hosted organizations website and email resources. So organization's website and email has been configured on the server. Now in the network, along with server, we will also have few client computers and all, right? And they're all connected to each other so that from client computer, we will be able to access the website or we will be able to send and receive emails. Right? Now this group of systems, your LAN computer, server and all together, we call this as a domain. So it's nothing but like a group of computers which belong to one particular organization or maybe one particular department in your organization. Right. Now, assuming you are the employee of this organization and you also have access to one of the LAN computer. So from this LAN computer, will it be possible for you to access the company's website? So you want to see what is available in the website, what all content has been published and all, right? And you already have access to one of the LAN computer. You're already in the office. So will you be able to connect to this particular website? What do you say? Yes. So you will be able to connect to the website and access the content if you are in office and you have access to the LAN computer. So what you guys have said is correct. Now let us say after your office hours, maybe say after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, right? You have gone back to your home. Now, from your home, using your laptop or maybe using your mobile phone, you wanted to access the company's website, right? So you're already connected to internet from the home network, right? So you're already connected to internet from the home network. Now you want to access the company's website and see how does it look like when you are accessing it from home, right? So is that possible for you to access the company's website from your home? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so as some of you are responding in chat saying that it is possible, and some of you have said it is not possible, right? So let me give you an understanding. Now from your home, right? Maybe you are using a laptop or you are using a mobile phone and you want to access the company's website. From home, you are already connected to internet. But if you see, according to the existing network here, right? According to this diagram, we haven't connected our office network to internet, right? So if we have not connected our office network to internet, it will not be possible for us to access the resources from internet. So what we have to do, we will take a internet connection from ISP, and using a gateway device like a router, we will connect our office network to internet, right? So far our office network was a private network. It is not connected to any external resource, right? We have a network in office, but only those resources like our LAN computers and the server will be able to access that, right? But now what we did, we have taken an internet connection through some ISP, and using a network device, a router, we have connected our office network to internet. So now we can say our office network as a private network, right? And this internet, as we all know, is a public network, right? So internet, as we all know, is a public network, right? So here, when you speak of accessing the website from your home, right? After connecting our office network to internet, will it be possible? Mr. Faisal, Mr. Abdul, Krishna. So now it is possible, right? Yeah. So if we connect our office network with internet, right, then it is possible for you to access your website from home, right? So you don't have to be in office now. Even if you are in home, you will be able to access the website. That's good. Now when you speak of accessing this website from internet, tell me, is it only possible for you to access this website from internet, or is it possible for every person on internet to access this website? Because we say internet is a public network, and there is no restriction that only a person who is working with so and so organization will have access to internet. So basically internet is accessible to everyone, right? So if internet is accessible to everyone, can any other person from any other location, any other country, will that person also be able to access the company's website? Yes, right. So as you said, it is possible for any other person to access your company's website. It need not be from your home network. So it is not like only the employee of this organization will have access to the website. Basically, every person on internet will have access to the website. Then what about the email resource? What about your email server? Will it also be accessible to every person, or will it only be accessible to your employees? Yeah. So as you say, it is only accessible to the employees, right? What you said is correct, but there's a small difference here, right? Now let us say I am not your employee. I am not one among your organization's employee, right? I'm an outsider. Assume your organization's website is something like www.abc.com. As we have already discussed, yes, we are able to access this website. Anyone can access this website, no restriction. Now, when I say I want to access mail.abc.com, which is your email web access, right? Even though I'm not an employee of your organization, right? I will still be able to access that particular page, right? I'll still see the login page. So if I have some username and password, I will be able to type it and then log into that particular email resource. What do you say? I'm not an employee of your organization, but when I'm sending a request, the email server or the email application, whatever is hosted on your server, is responding. It is showing me the login page, right? If I know the username and password, I can type it and log in, check the emails and all. But if I don't have the password, I will not be able to log in, right? Is that correct? See, again, you can compare this similar to how you access your Gmail. So any person can type www.gmail.com. They will see a login page which is asking them to type the user ID and the password. If the user ID and password is successfully verified, then he will have access to the content. If not, he doesn't have access. But the login page is available to everyone, right? So it means the resource what you are hosting on this particular server, be it website or be it FTP or email or any other application which you have hosted, is accessible to every person on internet. Whether do they have access to the content whatever is hosted there or not depends on whether the person is authorized to access the details, does he have the user ID and password, is he able to verify himself or not. So various factors come into picture, right? But now let us speak of different types of people who try to access your website, right? So assume, as I already said, I am an outsider, right? Now if my intention is only to connect to your server, see what content you have published on your website, and if something is useful, maybe I'll go to the contact page, I'll give you a call, or maybe I'll send you an email. I'll try to find out information about your organization or what kind of services or products you offer. If something is useful, I'll go ahead and continue business with you. But let us say your organization is not having a product which is useful for me, right? Now let's say I want to purchase a mobile phone, but your organization is not selling mobile phones, but you are actually developing a software for mobile phone, right? So first I have to purchase a mobile phone, then I'll come to you for the software. So as of now, I don't have anything related to my requirements in your organization. So I'll just close the website, go back. So with this kind of behavior, there is no problem. You don't have any kind of risk. But let us say I visit your website, but I'm not really interested in what content you have published there. I wanted to see what else is available on this server. I want to see what else or what all other data is present on this server. And if possible, I want to launch an attack and take full control of this mission. I want to compromise your server and take full control of it. That is my requirement. So if you come across a person with these kind of requirements, then obviously we have some risk, right? So when we are connecting our organization's network to internet, there is always a risk with people who are accessing your servers or your resources from internet. If their intentions are to launch an attack and compromise your system or take control of your system, we will always have a risk, right? So these are the people we generally refer to as hackers, right? Now in our cybersecurity session, this is exactly what we are going to discuss. How do we stop these people and how do we protect our network, right? So I hope you got a basic idea like how organizations are hosting their servers or their network, and what is the problem that we have when we are connecting our organization network to internet. What do you say, guys? Is this clear or you have any other queries? Yeah, thank you. So let us go ahead. So when you speak of cybersecurity is a set of techniques which are used by administrators to protect the integrity of your networks or the programs whatever you have hosted and the data that is available in your network, right? So cybersecurity is not like a simple configuration where you have a series of steps, right? You execute it and then it is done. So cybersecurity is not like how we try to configure say a router or maybe a server and all, right? Cybersecurity is actually a series of things, right? It's a set of techniques or a set of procedures that we follow to protect a network or to protect our resources, right? So what are we trying to protect our resources from? Any kind of an attack which might damage the data or which might compromise our resources, or any kind of misuse. So we are trying to stop someone from misusing our data or deleting or destroying our data, right, using a set of techniques. So that is what we generally refer to as cybersecurity. Now in cybersecurity we have different aspects. So the first thing that we will be discussing in our cybersecurity sessions will be security risk assessment. So few moments ago we were discussing that when we connect our organization network to internet, we have a risk. We have some risk because everyone is able to access our resources. So we'll have to assess, we'll have to identify what is that risk, right? What is the threat, right? So the first module that we will be discussing in cybersecurity is security risk assessment, trying to see what is the risk associated, right? And then the second step is proactive defense and countermeasures. So we are going to implement some countermeasures. So once we know what is the risk, we are trying to implement security. We are trying to stop that. We are trying to see what techniques can be used to stop those attacks, right? And also proactive defense. Even before an attack happens, we are trying to secure our systems. So for this, we can take a simple example. Now, when we speak of our PC or a mobile phone, right? I guess everyone is using it, right? Now, on our PC or a mobile phone, do we have a password? So we always configure a password, right? So if it is a PC, you will have a password. If it is a mobile phone, you may have a PIN number or you may have a pattern lock or a fingerprint, right? So they're all different types of passwords, right? But why are we configuring them? Why do we configure a password on our PC or maybe on our mobile phone? Yes, as you said, it is to secure the device, right? So you don't want an unauthorized user to access your mobile phone or to access your PC and get access to that content or misuse the content. So that is the reason we are setting up a password for our PC or maybe a mobile device and all. So here you never faced any kind of attack. It's not like earlier you are not having a password, so someone took your mobile phone, they misused it, so later on you are trying to implement a password. Right from day one, when you purchase a phone and you start doing the configuration, you are setting up a password. That is proactive defense, right? You're not waiting for some incident to happen. You're trying to take some security precautions right from the beginning. So the second step that we are going to discuss in our cybersecurity is proactive defense and countermeasures. How do we try to implement security right from the beginning? What all things we have to consider? And we will also see what countermeasures can we implement if we come to know that there are some vulnerabilities or there are some loopholes in our network security. So that's our second module. And the third module is about incident response and management. Now see, whatever security measures that we are going to apply, right? We are never going to achieve 100% secure network. That's impossible, right? So there is always certain amount of risk, right? It may be 1%, it may be 2%, it may be 10%, right? So there's always some kind of risk to any kind of network, right? And if something goes wrong, if there is a hacking attack, if there is some data loss, how do you handle that incident? And in such event, how do you respond? How do you identify that something has happened? That will be our third module, right? Which is incident response and management. So now let us see in detail what exactly are these things. So the first module, as I said, is security risk assessment. So this is where we are going to concentrate on the hacking part, because I was earlier explaining, right? Once we are hosting our network and once we are permitting any user from internet to access our resource, there is always a risk. A person can launch an attack and compromise our system, right? So how do these hackers do the attacks, right? What all techniques they follow? So if we have to protect our network from any attack, the first thing we have to understand is how a hacker is successful in launching the attack. How do they do these attacks and all, right? And that is what we are going to learn in our first module, security risk assessment. So here, when you speak of hacking, hacking can be any form of unlawful computer intrusions. So intrusion means someone getting into your computer or someone trying to get into your server or your network resources without your permission. So someone trying to get into your network without your permission is called as intrusion, right? Obviously, a hacker would never ask us for a permission, right? So they'll never ask us like, okay, Mr. Admin, can I launch an attack onto your server and hack it? He will never do that, right? Now, when you speak of how these intrusions are being done, hackers are trying to bypass your network security by either stealing your data or destroying your data or sometimes stopping you from accessing your resources itself, right? So hackers try to bypass your network security. They will either find some weakness on your computer, take advantage of this weakness and launch an attack, or they steal your passwords. Just few moments ago we were discussing about why we configure passwords and all, and you guys were saying like to stop someone from accessing the network device or maybe accessing your mobile device or PC. Now what happens if someone else, maybe say your brother or your friend or some unauthorized user, someone else, some unknown guy, that person also knows the password, can he also have access to your mobile phone or your PC or maybe your online account? What do you say? Yes. So if someone else knows your password, he will be able to access your data, right? And he can also misuse the account or misuse that particular device. So hackers are trying to steal your data, right? By either finding a weakness on your system, launching an attack, or by trying to steal your passwords, right? Or sometimes they also use some applications called backdoors. So using a backdoor, a hacker will try to take full control of your system and you will not even be aware of it. You'll not even know that someone is remotely accessing or someone is remotely monitoring your data, right? So this is what hackers are trying to do. And the process what they follow is called as hacking. Now, generally, when you speak of hacking, would you call these activities legal or illegal? Yes. So hacking is always illegal. Right? Mr. Krishna, as you said, hacking can be legal, but we don't call this as hacking, right? So there's a different term for that, right? So there is something else called ethical hacking, right? Now, ethical hacking can also be called as white hat hacking, right? So here, when you speak of ethical hacking, this is a term which we generally use to describe hacking activity. So there is also a hacking activity, but this is performed to help the organization or an individual to identify potential security threats on their computers or on their networks. Right. So Mr. Krishna, as you said, hacking can be legal in certain conditions, but we have a different term for that. We call this as ethical hacking, right? So in ethical hacking, a hacker is authorized by an organization. He has been given permission to perform an attack and see if their network or their servers can be compromised. But this guy, he doesn't have an intention to destroy the data or steal the data or do some damage to the resources. He's trying to identify if there is a possibility that someone can break into your system, someone can get into your networks by bypassing the security. Right. Now this is legal. Right. So here you're authorizing a person or you're authorizing a team to audit your network to see if it is secure or not. And of course, whatever they find, if they find that there are some weakness or there are some loopholes in your security, they will report these vulnerabilities to you. They will tell you that, see, this is a weakness. So technically, we call them as vulnerabilities. They will report you saying that these are the vulnerabilities available in your network. Now, based on this, you will try to secure your resources. Right. So is that clear? Yeah. Thank you. So now, before we proceed and see how actually hackers are trying to do an attack, let me show you with some recent news articles which were published related to various kind of hacking attacks that are happening across the globe. So here I hope you're all able to view my screen, right? Yeah. So generally when we speak of hacking or hacking attacks, right? The first thing that comes to everyone's mind is a large data center or maybe a server, a big software company or a government agency, right? And someone is trying to get into their systems. Because that's what generally we see in movies and all, right? Right. But that's not really true today, because today if you see, hackers are able to hack into various different kind of devices, right? So here there is a news article which says there are some security bugs found in Mercedes-Benz cars, using which hackers are able to remotely take control of it. Now, generally, you might be wondering, what does a car have to do with internet or hacking and all, right? So that's what I just wanted to highlight. Now, when you speak of your today's automobiles, right, you are getting some options like, say, navigation. It tells you what is the route that you have to follow to reach a specific destination. Is also telling you like if there is some traffic jam or something, there is some problem on the road, it is also giving you an alternate route, right? And your navigation systems today are also able to tell you where exactly you have a toll gate, where is the speed camera and all, right? So how does your vehicle come to know that after 2 kilometers there is a traffic jam, so you'll have to take a different route here? How does your vehicle tell you that there is a speed gun after some 500 meters, so you'll have to reduce the speed? So in short, your automobile, it has a data connection, it has a SIM card which is connecting to internet, speaking to various servers, right? Now say for navigation, maybe it is speaking to Google Maps or some other mapping solution. So it is speaking to some remote server and it is fetching the information. So same as how your computer, how your laptop or mobile phone is connecting to that. So there's a data connection. It is getting access to internet. Now, what if this data connection is not secure? If the data connection is not secure, can someone get into your network? So in network here, you only have one system, which is your car. Yes, they are able to get in. And if they are able to get in, because there's a computer, and today, like all your automobiles, they are being controlled by a computer, right? So you have everything being done electronically rather than mechanically, right? So if a hacker got access to your vehicle, he will be able to control everything. He'll be able to control your, say, um, your entertainment, that is your audio and video, or maybe your braking system, how the way your engine performs, how the way your air conditioning works, right? And there's a different article here where hackers are trying to use these backdoor applications to take over Mac OS based systems. So as I said earlier, using backdoors, hackers will try to take control of our systems and we will not even be aware of it, right? So that's exactly what is happening here, right? And not only for your computers or your vehicles and all, even your mobile phones are not being spared. So here we have a news article which says there is a malware, right, which has a ability to steal your banking data. But today, if you see, most of us, we are trying to do all different sort of payments through mobiles, right? So be it online purchase, or maybe like you are just trying to purchase something, right? So you are going on with online transactions. Maybe you're going on to Amazon, or you go to Flipkart, or you go to, say, even if you just go there and you try to purchase something, say you want to purchase some snacks, how you are paying? You're trying to do payments through your UPI and all, right? So there is a malware which is trying to take advantage of it. It's infecting Android devices and then stealing your banking information, like what is a login credential, what is the PIN number that you are using to authorize the transactions, and all this information will be sent back to hackers, right? So basically, when you speak of hacking attacks, is not just limited to one kind of an operating system or one specific user or an organization. It can be done against any kind of system that is connecting to internet. Right? So is this clear so far? You have any queries, you can ask me. Yes, Mr. Avinash, as you say, yes, this kind of malwares will be infecting your mobile devices. Of course, this particular news article speaks about malware for Android, but in the past we have also seen malwares infecting your iPhones as well, right? So basically, there is no such thing that if you go with this kind of a product or this kind of an operating system, it is safe. So you have malwares for Android, you have it for iPhones, you have it for Windows, Linux, Mac, everywhere, right? Yes. In our sessions, we'll also be speaking about like how do we protect our devices and all from this malware, right? Not only how do we protect, we will also discuss about how do we create this malware, how hackers are creating this malware and all. So we'll also discuss that. So we have one full day discussion about that particular topic, right? Yeah. So now let me show you with some attacks how hackers are trying to compromise security of a system or a network. So for this, I will be accessing some remote website. So here, as you see, I'm accessing some forum, right, where I have an option to log in, right? So there's a login page. So just similar to every other website, which is asking us to type a user ID and password, right? Now we know if we have to successfully log in and access the content of that particular page, we need to have a user ID and password. So I don't have a username or password, right? I'll show you if there is a weakness, if there is a vulnerability on the website, how it is possible for a hacker to log into that particular website, even if the user ID and password is not correct, or even if the user doesn't even have a account on that particular website. Right. So here, let me give a username as say Zoom, and I'm giving password as Zoom@123. Now, when I try to log in, as you can see here, it says invalid login because that particular user account has not been created. I haven't created any such user account with the username as Zoom and password as Zoom@123. But because there is a vulnerability on this server, I'll try to trick this particular server. So I give the username Zoom, but along with that, I'm also giving some condition. So I'm asking the server to check if username Zoom is available. If not, or try to see if 2 into 2 is equal to 4. What do you say? Is 2 into 2 equal to 4? Obviously, right? And say 9 is equal to 9. So I'm just giving a simple condition. So I'm trying to ask the server, check if there is a username called Zoom, right? If that doesn't exist, try with 2 into 2 is equal to 4 or not. That will be true, and 9 is equal to 9. Of course, that is also true. And then I'm giving the same password, zoom @123, and now I say login. So here, as you see, I'm able to log into that particular website, right? Even though that user account Zoom does not exist, right? I'm able to access that particular web page. So this is a vulnerability on the server, right? So this vulnerability, we call it as SQL injection vulnerability. There is a weakness on the server, right? And using that, I'm taking advantage of the vulnerability. I'm able to log in into that particular server, right? So once I log in, I have all the privilege as any other user who will be able to log in and access the content or do some changes and all that, right? So not only this, today if you see, hackers are very smart, right? So even if you have checked with your messaging applications like say your WhatsApp or Telegram and all, right? So every day we keep receiving one or the other message which gives you with some kind of offer or some kind of deal. They give you a link, they ask you to click on the link, right? So I think like a few months ago there was a similar incident where hackers have circulated a message saying that Amazon is giving away some smart TVs. So to claim the smart TV, all you have to do is click on a link and register, right? So any person who has clicked on the link, they saw that confirmation message that yes, you have now registered yourself to participate in the lucky draw, but you have to add 1000 rupees into your Amazon Pay balance, which you can later on use. Now many people have thought that okay, this is true, they have added 1000 rupees into their Amazon Pay balance, and they are also able to get a confirmation message that 1000 rupees has been added. They were also able to see that in their Amazon app and all. But later on, what happened? Hackers were able to change the password of that Amazon user account. They were also able to change the contact telephone number and all, right? But how did hacker get access to this Amazon account? When the user was clicking on the link and he was typing the username and password, that particular web page, what end user has received is not a genuine page, it's a fake one, right? And that's how hackers were able to steal the user ID and password. So once the username password was stolen, they were able to log in, change away the contact number, change away the password and all, and then transfer this 1000 rupees as a gift card and deliver it to some unknown location. So this has happened with some hundreds of users, right? So whenever you see some link on maybe a messenger application or some social media chat application or something, never click on it, right? Never directly click on that, right? So let me show you a simple example, right? How a hacker will be able to trace your exact location, how hackers will be able to trace your exact location using a simple link, right? So here I'm running some application which will help me to find out the details, help me to identify your exact location. So all I need to do is just share a simple link with you people. So I can assure you that with this particular link, right, I'm not going to hack into your mobile device or something, right? It's just for you to get an understanding that it is possible for someone to just send a simple link to you, and when you access that, they are able to track your location, and not only your location, even your mobile device or maybe your system's device properties and all, right? So I have shared this particular link in the chat window, so you can try to access that. Okay, so it just shows you a simple web page where you can find people who are nearby to you, right? Say like in a region of half a kilometer or 1 kilometer, right? If you have any of your friends or someone whom you know, you will be able to identify them, right? Okay, so we already got the information, right? So it is showing that one of you have accessed this particular link. Okay, so others who have not yet accessed, you don't have to access. So we already got this information here, right? So now let us see how does it look like, or what is this information that we have. So one of you who have accessed this link. Okay, Mr. Faisal, so it's you. Okay, good. So here it says that the device that you have accessed the link is an Android device running Android 10 operating system, right? And your CPU has 8 cores and the RAM is 8 GB on your mobile device, right? And your IP address is something like 27.6.13.69. So you can check this by accessing whatismyipaddress.com website. It should show you the same IP, right? And you are accessing it from Hyderabad, right? So is this all correct? And you are using your internet connection from Hathway ISP. Yeah. So here, as I've shared the link, right? So once that particular link is accessed, now as you can see, we are able to capture that person's mobile device details and also his location. So it is also directly giving you with a what do we say, a Google Map URL. So you can directly open this particular link on your web browser and try to find out what is the location of that particular user. So it also says he's using Google Chrome version 87 something. Okay, so let us just access that web page. Okay, so is this location correct? Yep, thank you. So as you see, just by simply sending a link, a hacker is able to capture a user's location, right? So not only accessing user location, you'll also be able to uh, take control of the user mobile device camera, click pictures, record audio, right? So various things are being done by hackers now, right? So we'll be discussing all those things in our sessions, right? So now, speaking of different kind of hacking attacks, what hackers are trying to do. So these are different kind of attacks that hackers are doing, and we will be discussing all these things in our session, right? So we'll be discussing about attacks where hackers are trying to steal your passwords, or hackers are trying to steal your Wi-Fi network passwords, or hackers are trying to take control of your systems or your mobile devices. How hackers are compromising your websites. How do they launch an attack and destroy your website or steal the data and all? How hackers are creating viruses or worms, or even if you see in the recent past, right? There is a malware which is very widely being used by hackers called ransomware. So how hackers are using these ransomwares, right? So we'll be discussing all these kind of attack methods in our first module, that is security risk assessment, right? So guys, is this clear what actually we are trying to do in our ethical hacking module? Yeah. Yes, Mr. Krishna, we will also be doing this practically. I will also be sharing you with all the required tools and the required virtual missions using which you will be able to practice, and you will also be able to do this, right? So I'll be sharing all the required tools and all the virtual missions and all that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.